Now, you're probably thinking, Kezia, where are the cheersport vlogs? Where are the Worlds vlogs? Where are the Summit vlogs? Guys, and I can't even defend myself. I'm sorry. What did you expect from me? Did you think I was really gonna post it within like 3 months? No, it's already November. Summit was like in May. June, July, August, September, October, 6 months. I told some of y'all that was like the minimum of when you should expect vlogs. So I'll upload them to my computer at some point this month. Like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It is also a monthly reading wrap-up month for me. Some of you may or may not know, are aware or unaware that I read. What else would I be doing, guys? Like, I eat, sleep, cheer, repeat, and then make time to read in between. On the side, I read a lot, especially this month. This last month, I read so much. I'm very proud of myself, and here I am. It's a little different for me, but whether or not you were expecting last season's vlogs or not, or are here just to vibe, you're here, so all the love, and let's get started. You actually do not want to see the state my room is in right now. Like, the setup is so crazy. Like, I'm living on the edge right now. This camera is living on the edge right now. The first book I read in October, which actually I technically finished in the beginning of October. I read most of it in the majority at the beginning of this month. I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I rated it a 5-star. Literally was so late to this book. The hype was at its peak in like May, the summer, but it's fine. The fall time is such a perfect time for fantasy reads, in which this was such a fantasy month. Like, I'm so serious, like solely fantasy with one contemporary romance. I'm very excited for the second book coming out in the next couple days. The book is coming out on November 7th. Oh my god, I'm so excited. This is basically about this girl who wanted to go to like this writer's squad. What? Why do I not remember? So this girl basically wants to join this college, but for like the scribes, like the writing quadrant? The scribe quadrant. But her mom, who's like the general of like the military part of it, which is like the writer's quadrant, where they basically train to ride dragons and like fight, is forcing her to join that quadrant. That writer's quadrant is known for just death. No one really makes it out alive. It's kind of like a miracle that she makes it through literally the first like trial to even make it to the quadrant. It literally felt like I was watching a movie the entire time, and she actually just announced that a movie, or no, a show could be in the works. One of the two. I loved the romance in this. It's giving like, look, a little bit of an enemies to lovers vibe, but like he's like her leader, so there's like, you see where like this heads, they don't like each other, they're not supposed to like each other, but obviously like it's never the case. That's like their romance, and I think it's so interesting in how this kind of a plot unfolds, because it literally thickens at the end of the book. I love that it was equally balanced between like the plot, like the character development, and like the romance. It's not too romance heavy, but it does have a good enough romance for it to be like a really good action high stakes fantasy book. The next book I read, I actually don't have a copy of it in my hands because literally can find it nowhere, is The Ballad of Never After by Stephanie Garber, and I literally rated it a 5-star, if not a 6-star. Like, I actually need that book injected into my veins, and I could literally go on about them, but I will not, for the sake of this video and for the sake of you guys and your sanity. The literal way I can't get through one book without my camera actually dying. Anyways, the next book, actually series, universe, I read this month, the Percy Jackson series. I haven't read this series since literally middle school. Like, haven't touched these books, read these books, read about them, Percabeth, everything since middle school. And so my friend hit me up because she was like, yo, I'm about to read the Percy Jackson series again. And I'm like, yo, bet, like I'm going to right now. And mind you, this is like all circulating around the time when like Percy Jackson, like the Disney Plus show, is like getting more like attention. I'm like, I need to reread the series before the show comes out, and so I told my friend, let's do it. Can we take a moment to appreciate the spines on these books? These are exclusive edition covers. I saw these and I actually ran to Barnes like so fast. But that's kind of a lie, because I was like, I am kind of attached to the old covers. They feel more nostalgic to me. But then I caved. And so I have all 5, and they're actually so pretty. This series is Percy Jackson and the Olympians, and so overall I feel this is just a 5-star series. I literally reread this and felt like I was reading it for the first time again. I remember like some things, but I just was so excited. I literally felt like I was in middle school again, like 6th grade. Back then, I used to read these books and would literally think, oh my god, I love Percy so much. Like, he's my crush. He was like my OG crush from books. But now, like older, like way older now, reading these books, I feel like I was watching him grow up, and I felt really emotional. And I love them so much. I could literally talk about each individual book, but honestly, I binge these books so fast, so I don't remember anything, but I do. But it's just like, they're all meshed together. But I definitely, oh, dang it, I don't know what my favorite book is. It's either the 3rd or 4th, but I also really love the 5th. But I just love them all, and I love Percy. Percy, literally the blueprint. Rick Riordan, you literally wrote these 2 couples so that every other friend still lover slow burn could run. These have a place in my heart forever, like forever and ever. I will never let this series go. If you've never heard of the Percy Jackson series, it basically just follows a kid named Percy Jackson who finds out he's a son of a Greek god Poseidon, and it basically follows his like adventures trying to grow up and basically survive, because no one who is a demigod is destined to like live past the age of like 12 typically, and he finds out he is in this prophecy that literally means he either dies or he lives if he saves the world. What did I read next? I'm trying to look at my Goodreads right now, but I'm pretty sure I just went on to go read The Lost Hero, like the next series. The next series to read after Percy Jackson and the Olympians is Heroes of Olympus, which they're kind of like interconnected series, so you should read the next series. What did I read? Yep. I read The Lost Hero pretty recently, actually, like pretty recent. Literally binged this book, but look how thick it is. Literally so much thicker than those ones over there. And I was a bit intimidated, I can't even lie. I can't even lie. It was very interesting to see a new set of characters be introduced to start off the series, but honestly for good reason, because if I started off with like Percy's POV in this book and then these characters in the next, I probably wouldn't like it as much. I still did enjoy this regardless. I gave this, what did I rate this? I rated this a 4 or 4.25. I'm still iffy about it because it's a solid 4, but I don't know if it's good enough to give that extra 0.25. But I still enjoyed it nonetheless, and I remembered some things from this book, but this series just I didn't really remember at all. At least toward like the last half. Reading this book, I just felt so like hyped, because like at the end you're like, oh my god, like you know where it was gonna go. Like the rest of the series, it's gonna be so good, and you just know after reading this book, and I'm like, oh my god, I just can't wait to read Percy's POV again, and I'm so excited. I want to say this is a good 4-star. So after this book, I took a little bit of a break because I actually wanted to finish Wildfire by Hannah Grace. Funny thing is, I started this book the day it got released. I was literally waiting days upon days up until the release date of this book, and then I started reading it, and I'm like 75% through. Stopped for a couple days because of the Percy Jackson series. Went back to this. I'm on like the last 40 pages, and I don't even finish it till like literally the 24th of October. But regardless, it still did not take away any of the enjoyment. I wasn't in a slump reading this. That wasn't why I put a pause on it. I just genuinely was invested in the Percy Jackson series, and I couldn't get out of their world. So when I got back to this, I wanted to finish it because I really felt bad about how I put this book on pause for so long. Wildfire basically follows these 2 characters named Russ and Rory. They are at this summer camp. They both work there. But before they go there, they have this one-night stand, and they think that they're never gonna see each other again, in which ironically they do at the summer camp. So it's kind of just like them like getting to know each other more, because there's this obvious like attraction to each other. These 2 characters also have some baggage with them, so it kind of is a barrier that they work through in their relationship. Honestly, enjoyed this more than Icebreaker. It was such a cute book. I honestly like Russ more than Nate. Nate was hot, but Russ is just mwah, mwah. But you know, I can't even lie, I'm waiting for Henry's book. So like, not that Nate and Stassi in the first book didn't intrigue me, but they just I just like felt more connected to these characters more with like what their background was and how they got through it together, just their individual developments. Their relationship was just more memorable to me. I rate this a solid 4-star, but honestly, I wouldn't mind giving it a 4.25. I just know Henry's book is gonna be so good. The crumbs we get from Miss Hannah Grace for Henry, literally criminal. Crumbs. I just want more. The next book I read, the most anticipated read of this entire month, and it was A Curse for True Love by Stephanie Garber. I did in fact mention that I read the second book earlier this month, the beginning of this month. It was like the second book, and I knew it was, I read that book knowing I didn't have a copy of it, knowing this book was gonna come out at the end of the month, so I literally ran and got this book. Although I do have a bit of a problem. It's that I literally have the first book in paperback in the exclusive edition, but I had the third book in the exclusive edition but hardcover. So you see the predicament, we see where my predicament lies. I don't even have the second book, but this just really makes me upset. But you know what, they look so pretty together. I could literally get every single edition in every single format, paper cover, paperback, hardcover. I would collect every single one of them because I just love the series that much. Like, I need this injected into my veins, ingrained into my mind and heart forever. I gave this a 5-star. You know, I'm letting it simmer. I want to give it a 4 point. No, you know, I can't even lie. I want to give it a 4.75. It wasn't a 5-star, but at the time when I finished reading it, I was like, oh my god, like I just love the series and I love them. Now that I've let it simmered, honestly, not gonna be that much different. A 4.75. I think thinking about the end was honestly a 5-star. The build up throughout the book, it made sense why, and I can't say why because it would just be spoilers. This book was just a really good conclusion to the end of the trilogy. Stephanie Garber did hint at another series in their world regarding other characters, and I've read another epilogue, like a bonus epilogue. She has 3 different ones. I'm just very curious to see where Stephanie Garber goes with this world, because if I see more Eva Jackson, I'm not complaining, okay? I'm not complaining. I love them. I love this series. I love them. This is a 4.75, but honestly, when I think about it that much, I will honestly give it a 5. The whole trilogy itself is a 6-star to me. The next book I read was Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, and this is fresh. I had just finished this last night. Oh my god, this was just insane. Like, this book, I heard so much hype about this book, and it took me so long to read this book as well as Fourth Wing, but holy crap, did this book literally make me go feral. Like, actually feral. Like, I've never seen any reactions out of myself. The visceral reactions reading this book. Honestly, if you were to see me out in public, you would be like, is she okay? No, I'm not okay. This book is more of a historical romance with like magical elements in it. So it's not like considered like a fantasy romance type vibe, but it's about these 2 rivals at a newspaper place, like the Gazette. They unknowingly write letters to each other without them knowing. Is that a spoiler? I don't really know. They're magically connected by these 2 typewriters. She doesn't know that she's writing to him, but he knows that he's writing to her, so it's their story. But in their world, there's like a war between 2 gods right now, so there's gonna be a lot of barriers regarding their love and the war and where they stand, kind of just like their positions and like everything else. As you can tell, I'm really bad at explaining things, explaining books, explaining how I feel about books. I'm like literally not even joking when I say this book is still on my mind. I just finished it last night. Like, I can't stop thinking about them. Now all I'm thinking about is when I can get this book next, which I think is literally December 26th. It's criminal to be waiting that long. And it's after Christmas. You couldn't have released it before Christmas, Miss Rebecca Ross. I just need to know. I just need to know what happens, because I'm literally I'm not gonna sleep peacefully at night knowing I don't know what happens next in this book. The series. What is this? A duology? Like, I don't even know. As of right now, I'm just awaiting the second book. Impatiently, torturously. I don't know if I explained what The Lost Hair is about, but I only mentioned that it was the first book in the second series following Percy Jackson and the Olympians. Without spoiling too much, Jason lost his memory. He has no idea where he is, and then he gets brought to Camp Half-Blood, where he finds that he's in a prophecy. And so him and 2 other people, Leo and Piper, go on a quest to find out what is really going on in their situation, who he really is. And so the second book, The Son of Neptune, follows Percy's POV, and he doesn't have his memory either, so he's on a quest with two other people too from Camp Jupiter by the names of Hazel and Frank, and they go on a quest. He tries to figure out why he's there, why he doesn't have his memory, who's behind this, and of course the lines cross. Everything will make sense in the end. It will just be a crazy, shocking realization. On the topic of The Son of Neptune, I want to count this in my reading wrap-up for October because, well, I'm basically like I have this much left, and so I kind of want to count it, and it's a really thick book. I've been binging this. I want to count it in. I'm gonna finish October, but I'm counting this in this reading wrap-up. Well, thanks for tuning in to my first reading book video. Thanks, train, for not actually shutting up. And if you guys weren't expecting this kind of a video, but we're actually expecting the cheer videos, which I don't blame you, and you're probably yelling at me through the screen right now, they're coming a little later than I anticipated, but when have I ever been known to be on time, especially when it comes to these vlogs? But this does conclude my October reading wrap up. We'll see how this month goes. I'm very excited. Happy Evermore month, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next one.